السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت فلك الحمد على ما قضيت نستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وآله وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amen. Last week we studied the third point as far as the messengership of Muhammad is concerned. How are we going to be sure or be confident that the person who was called Muhammad and lived in the 7th century was appointed by God and therefore messenger of God, and he brought the message from God. He received the message from God and delivered it to us. It's a hard subject, not easy. Last week, we studied a piece under the subtitle of the third point, and there was we just really didn't cover the paragraph in detail, but I just wanted to revise one of the points made there and emphasize on it. This one, you will see that this is not a whole sentence, actually. I'm taking a part from the sentence. You will see that the Sharia, the principles that Muhammad brought, comprising the principles of that justice, has the capacity to meet all the needs of the future until the last day. That is, there is a point that we have to understand, and we must be sure that what the Sharia comprises is according to justice. I don't think it is an easy subject. To me, it is not. Maybe it is to you. What is justice? I can give you an extreme example which doesn't seem to be justice at all. Although the people make up some excuses, but I don't think it is valid. For example, prohibition of eating pork. Where is justice in it? It's a very tough question. Where is justice in the prohibition of pork? Don't say that it is dangerous. No, the biologists and the people who study that, maybe cow meat sometimes may be more dangerous to the health of humankind than the pork. What is justice there? Let's assume that it is not harmful. It could have not been harmful, right? But there might be physically harmful. There might be some other reasons behind it. The people say that the pigs are not jealous of their pairs, their, how do you say, their mates, yes. If you eat pig, you become like them. It may be so, but you cannot prove it. Can you? Physically, you cannot prove it. But the author made a distinction between the physical laws and the Sharia laws. Physical laws, what we observe in the universe, man, they don't change. And they are established by the creator of the universe. We understand. I mean, it is not our subject today to prove that they are established by the creator of the universe or they happen to be by themselves, by chance. It is not argument here in this, within the field that we are dealing with. But we have studied somehow, and if someone is convinced that they are established by the creator, then, okay, physical laws don't change, and the people can find out the principles of the physical laws and say that this is what the creator willed the universe to be, how the universe should be. That is his will. Okay, we understand. How about his verbal explanation? And we can see the justice, by the way. We can see the justice in the web of the laws of physical, the principles of physical. For example, the relationship between everything is well adjusted. Look at the creation of everything. Everything is given what is due to its lifespan. But the goats are created in a particular way, and their stomach, their needs, their lifestyle, everything is adjusted as fits to their lifestyle. So they have eyes, nose, and appetite for certain food, and this food are just digestible for the stomach. They are adjusted, and the stomach, and the lung, and the liver, and the heart, and the digestive system works perfectly. And the gods are given the appetite for certain type of food, which really is most appropriate to the life of the god. And they producing young kids. Procreation, reproduction. It is also perfect. The male and female, they are just really complementing each other perfectly. Incredible. Why? Every creature can't be accidental at all, has its own pair, male and female, as far as in the living world. In the material world, or the physical world as well. It is so amazing. I mean, we cannot really say that by chance, male developed in this way, by chance, female developed in that way, by chance, they became 100% complementary to each other. Come on. Why? Human mind says, come on, don't be ridiculous. By chance, if not only human beings, all creatures, living creatures, millions of different species are created in pairs. And they are all perfectly matching each other, complementing each other in order to reproduce. Reproduce. But it's impossible for the mind to accept this. It's impossible. By chance. Even one male and female living being will be perfectly really complementing each other, and reproduce becomes an possible, and also emotional relationship. How do they know that they need? Yeah, and how, everything biologically they fit 100%. This is impossible. So we understand that there is a perfect justice in the act of creation within the universe. How about in the verbal explanation? Verbal guidance by the same creator. How do we see the justice there? How are we expected to understand justice there? And either in which terms? Now, silence means I can carry on. Are you thinking, or are you going to say something? When you want to say something, please stop me. Now, according to the physical justice in the creation, something is left, especially for human beings who reason and question, who are intelligent beings. They ask, what's going on here? And they want to have a satisfactory explanation for it. And the Creator provides this explanation. But while he is providing this explanation to the questions that human beings ask, conscious beings ask, we have to know that this explanation is not the repetition of what is created in the universe and what is demonstrated in the universe. For example, you are eating grapes, and the Quran says, we provided the grape for you and for your sustenance. I say, excuse me, I already know. Why do you say that? We provide, but there are introductions to the subject, but what we says, it is us who created or provided the grape for you. I know, it's in the Quran. And I said, I know it. Why do you mention it? What is needed in the verbal explanation? Let's start from the simplest example. What is needed in the verbal explanation? I know the grape is for me and I'm eating it. I have an appetite towards it. And that's what you created. And why do you tell me again?
The very fact that you're questioning it is preferably for me, it seems to be one of the reasons why it's verbally communicated. So it's a means of introduction to further question the purpose of mentioning it.
What is the purpose of mentioning it?
No, I'm not saying I know what the purpose of mentioning it is, but the fact that it is mentioned allows me to question what the purpose of mentioning it is.
Okay, that you are allowed to ask, but you find that the Quran is or the verbal explanation says, I have provided, not literally like this, but it means in the context of the whole chapter, I have provided grapes for you for your sustenance. I say, well, I know. It is already there. I'm eating it. And you don't have to tell me that it is for my sustenance, so that I will say, oh, I didn't know that I can eat grapes, so I have to eat grapes. Yeah.
Someone is introducing that sentence, we provided or I provided, point to basically an entity, a being like, that is behind the creation of those grapes, while without the message that they're here, but then the question of accident might still be relevant, or not the accident, but it's here, but like from where?
How it
On
happened.
the sentence, we like we can personify, and it's not the right word since it's not a person.
Look, and who are you that who provided? But I found grape here growing in the vineyard. Well, what are you that you are saying we provided? No, the farmer provided. And that's what we think at first glance. So the verbal explanation always speaks about the side of the physical events which is not observable in the existence of the physical events, but there are signs in it. But we don't know what the signs refer to. That's why the text said somewhere, I remember reading it, as I don't know what it was, but it says, verbal explanation, it was revelation, is concerned with the text says religious side of it. What? Religious side of the event. Religious side of the event is what? Your existential questions and getting the answer to. So, as you said, it was right. It was right, the point. So, I found grape here, and it's nice. I enjoy it. I eat it. I benefit from it. And that's it. Now, by mentioning that the grape is provided for you by me, and it is an invitation to think of the source of existence of the grape that you are eating. Is it really? Doesn't it come by itself physically or naturally? No, it says, no, it doesn't. It cannot. It is an invitation. Hey, question the source of it. What is the possible answer? Don't take it for granted. It is an invitation to investigate the source of existence of grape, and it is a guidance at the same time saying that no, you cannot attribute the existence of grape to anything but with the expression of the Quran, which is beautiful, Rabbul Alamin, the owner, the administrator of the creator, includes all this meaning, master of the whole universe. You cannot find any other rational, acceptable explanation. This is an invitation to you. That's why the Quran mentions something seemingly obvious. But it is not repeating what we can learn from the physical world. Because we learn that you don't have to receive a revelation that you can eat grapes and benefit from it. Okay.
So on that note of text not, the verbal aspect not repeating what I already know from the universe, does this also include my ability to reason that without the text, when I observe and interact with the universe, I see a perfect balance, I see interconnectedness and complementary balance between everything. So I can logically reason that there must be a source, one source, an absolute source that all of these things belong to. So in that case, does the text become kind of a repetition of that invitation?
Looks like. Now, because you are not from China, you don't know that if you have never heard that something exists with absolute qualities apart from the universe itself, physical existence of the universe itself. They never have the concept of God because they never heard any revelation. those Chinese who are following the Chinese tradition, which claims to be Buddhist tradition, but not really, just knowing nothing. They don't know the concept of God. They don't know that there may be a possibility of existing something beyond the capacity of the universe. They don't have this concept. Because you heard from your parents' environment, etc. That's why you say something outside of the universe. Can you imagine that if you never heard any news, how can you make that something outside of the universe? They say, for example, something magical going on in the universe. That's why somebody argued that there was a not famous man, but made himself famous by attacking believers and making a lot of money out of the TV programs. That man said, of course we know something. Well, the universe cannot come into existence, although he is a very ardent defender of atheistic ideas. Well, but why he identifies himself as an atheist? Because he doesn't believe in religion. But he says, of course, there must be something behind the existence of this universe, but we are not concerned with it. We are concerned with the universe. So if we have not heard, we say that there's something magical going on here, but we cannot imagine that and question the way the things are created or things are brought into existence, and imagine that there must be an absolute source, and this absolute source provides everything. Otherwise, we cannot explain the existence of anything. If we didn't hear this explanation or guidance, with some atheists, scientists claim that they explain everything within the universe. But what they do, they only repeat what they observe in the universe and make find out some principles, what's going on in the universe, but never question the source of those principles. They don't. Although they are very intelligent people, they are hardworking people, but they don't, because they don't listen to the guidance. They don't listen to the verbal explanations. They think that they are explaining what's going on in the universe. Yeah. How about the source of it? How come they exist? No answer. Maybe you got the point that verbal explanation guides human beings to get into a world of existence which is absolute and not limited to the conditions of this universe. After that, you say, really it makes sense. There must be. Before, you just confine yourself within the conditions of this universe. This is easy. This is easy to understand that we need a revelation, and the revelation must be presented to us in the form that we can understand, we can benefit, we can make sense of. So that's why the revelation is sent through a man, so that he verbalized it, vocalized it for me. And I can really understand this vocalization and make sense of it. How about the Sharia is justice? The first question I asked was the hardest question. Let's do this. For example, the Sharia says The verbal explanation says, oh, human beings, you understand now after you believe, you are convinced. If you are convinced, of course. If you are not convinced, just say that I am a believer, you cannot make sense of it. But if you are really convinced that you are created, and your creator is the most wise one, the wisest one, or the absolutely wise one, and your creator knows the best for you, for your benefit, and the creator says, okay then, pray, worship me, and do some sort of actions in your physical world, and then express your conclusions, what you have experienced within the physical world, and present it to me as expressing or putting into practice what your conclusion is. That is prayer. That's called in Arabic, salah. That's your conclusion, presenting it within your own capacity. But this conclusion is the conclusion of your, this presentation is the conclusion of your investigation under the guidance of your belief in God. If someone doesn't believe in God consciously, they cannot perform worship consciously. But they can perform worship as much as they can, taking from the tradition, from the culture. Well, but we are talking about conscious prayer. Of course, the Quran Quran means to pray consciously. So, as far as the offerings of the Quran to human beings, that you have to present your conclusions to your Creator is concerned, do you see the justice there?
Answer the question.
Okay. I can see the justice there. Why? Look at yourself. As you are created, it is justice to the way that you are created. You need to express your conclusions so that your human feelings will be attached, connected, referred to the absolute being. Only then, as a human being, you can be fully satisfied in your existence. But don't take those people who pray, they are not conscious of this, but they pray, what does it mean? None of my business. My business is my own understanding. If I don't pray, I don't really become aware of the capacity that I am given, and I am not utilizing my human capacity, which needs satisfaction in terms of eternal existence, which is only possible to communicate, to attach my feelings to this absolute being and being in contact with him, maybe being in conversation with him within my own capacity. Express myself. That perfectly fits me. Everybody can think of it, but when I think of it within my own life terms, if I don't pray, it means if I don't communicate, if I don't have a conversation with my absolute creator, if I don't pray, that means I am not having a conversation with my creator. If I don't renew this understanding and remind myself, I am not doing justice to my human capacity because it is not fully satisfied. It's not justice. Not to pray is a kind of making injustice to your own human capacity. Now, not utilizing it in the way that it is created for. That is injustice. You are not using your human capacity to be able to connect yourself to the absolute being. So make your existence fully meaningful, and you can trust this absolute being as far as your life conditions are concerned, as far as the result of your life on earth is concerned, which seems to be death and annihilation. Unless you attach yourself, your existence, and be conscious of it, continuous consciousness is needed. Conscious of it, that death is not your end of your life. Your humanity cannot get fully satisfied in its existence. That is doing injustice to yourself by not worshiping and being in conversation with your Creator. Continuous reminder in every sense, mentally, intellectually, emotionally, physically. Because we are created in physical forms, in emotional, with emotional capacity, and also intellectual capacity to make sense of the things around us, including our own existence. So those people who don't worship, they don't perform what is needed according to his own conditions, their own conditions, life conditions, it is doing injustice to his or her own existence, human capacity. So by offering, by the Sharia, offering that you have to worship God and perform it very frequently, every day, you keep forgetting because you get involved into worldly life. For example, today I was involved into early morning. I was involved into some worldly life. I forgot sending mail. I forgot to bring the papers, handouts. Why? Because I was concentrating on my world life. It is normal to concentrate on your world life. It is how we are created, but we have to remind ourselves so often that I don't belong to this world only. I don't belong to this world. My body belongs to this world. My spirit, my intellect, my feelings belong to another world. Must be not transient, permanent, and I can trust that he can take care of my existence. That is how the worship or prayer or other forms of prayers are justified. Otherwise, we don't understand. The Quran keeps saying that you have to do this, you shouldn't do that, etc. We keep saying that, what if you created me? Okay, you created me. I am thankful for him. Why? And then afterwards, he keeps telling me that you have to do this, you shouldn't do that. Leave me alone. But when you are left alone, you do injustice to your human. You do injustice to your human. That's why guidance is needed. So I learned, not like everybody else, of course, you also learned from the Quran that I have to connect with God when the sun rises, when the sun sets, when the sun in the top, when the sun is going down, when it is dark at night. Well, come on, you are keeping me so busy, you know. But at the same time, I know that at every moment of important demonstration of the qualities of the Creator, new day is created. Wow, you are in a dark world. You were in a dark world. Now the sun is coming out, and you are receiving a beautiful news that I'm going to give you another day. I am going to send you the light. Don't worry. So you have to say it is a moment of a physical reminder. I have to take it and put it into my human condition and practice it by connecting myself with the Creator and saying that I'm very thankful that you are giving me another day. Express it, but be in conversation with him. But if you don't, what you do? No, it is morning. I have to wake up. Another day again. I have to go to work. I wish it was Sunday or Saturday. Your life is miserable, not meaningful. Yeah, you are doing injustice to your human capacity, to your humanity. But the Sharia comes, the verbal explanation comes, and re-establish justice in your life. Now the hardest question. I think this is a transit going from the easiest one, middle easy, and it may not occur to us that when we don't pray, we do that injustice to ourselves, and the Sharia modifies it, guides us, make justice to yourself. That's right. Do justice to yourself. Okay. Why the Sharia says you shouldn't eat pork? What is justice? Why don't we, why do you think the Sharia asks me not to eat pork? It could have been goat. Today, goat, I love goats. So it could have been goat. It could have been, I don't know, cows, something, anything. Yeah, but okay, pork. Not necessarily that. Why not pork? That is wisdom side of it. We are not dealing with wisdom side. We are dealing with why the verbal explanation by God bothers itself to tell me to eat this, not to eat that. Why? Okay, I understand. We studied why the verbal explanation, Sharia or revelation, or the message Muhammad brought to us, asks me or tells me, we studied this, but then reminds me that he created the grapes for me, for my nourishment. We studied this. Now, there is justice that we covered. How about prohibiting me not to do that? Well, if I eat pork, why not? Why not?
Not healthy.
No, the cows, some scientists claim that the cows are less healthier than pork.
But the animal itself is not a clean animal.
Okay. That is the wise side of it. Why God bothers me not to eat. For example, there are much more dangerous, poisonous things in the world. God doesn't say, don't eat that. But says, don't eat pork. Why I prohibit pork for you. But not necessarily the prohibition of pork that we have to talk here, because we don't study the rules of Sharia from fiqh perspective. We study the rules of Sharia from belief perspective. This class is for belief perspective. Everything is from belief fiqh perspective. They say there is a verse, clear, stated, we have to follow. And the wisdom we may find, we may not find, the very expression, the easy way, Wallahu a'lam. If Allah knows the best, why does He tell me that? Do you understand the question? But that He knows, I don't know, why does He tell me? How do you know that He knows? How did you get this? Yeah, that's a belief perspective. This class is somehow different from the rest of the classes that you may hear about religion, on the topic of religion. So we discussed this, why God, the Creator, bothers me not to eat, this prohibits me from something. For example, another example given in the Quran, that I created Adam from clay and then I breathed into his clay, in this clay, from my spirit, and it became his spirit. created form of spirit in his being. He became a human being, and I asked him not to approach that tree. What's wrong with this tree? He doesn't say. It is harmful for you. It is poisonous. No. He said, don't approach it one that tree. Out of trillions or quadrillions of paradise, it's a description. That's how the scenario is presented to us. Paradise is endless. Among endless trees, don't approach one tree, and there's no reason. Why? That tree. Why do you think?
Test.
Sorry?
Test.
You test what? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I'm not happy with the word test, but what? Testing what? Testing God testing me?
No,
Well, it is ridiculous.
Not God testing you. It's
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to.
That's the right word. Giving you the opportunity. So it's testing. Well, come on, God. You are the creator of me. Why are you testing me? You know what I have. So, but if you say opportunity, as you said, that is the perfect word. It is an opportunity for human beings
for the human being
to have justice to their creation in this world. Yeah, to have justice to themselves, to do justice to themselves. Why? How it works? Whether it is the prohibition of a tree. And the people who try to give reasoning for it, these are wisdom. Wisdom means in Arabic, hikmah. But we are not interested in hikmah. Hikmah is not important. It may change, it may not change. But it is a personal interpretation. But the main reasoning which needs to be understood really is illah. God wanted me not to approach that. Yeah, you started well.
Are you using justice interchangeably with rights? So, for example, if my conclusion is that the creator of the tree is or must also be my creator, and therefore he or that entity establishes the right of what I'm allowed to do, or the right of that tree over me. And because up until this point, I still feel like we haven't truly defined the word justice. We're I wouldn't say we're tiptoeing around it. We're coming at it from different perspectives. But when you say we're establishing justice by not approaching the tree or not eating the pig, as far as I understand justice, there's relative justice and then there's absolute justice. This form of justice where I'm not fully aware of why not to approach that one tree seems to go out of the bounds of relative justice, because now it's no longer in my understanding to fully, I guess, practice my conclusion, but it's outside of it. And I can confirm as a human being that I don't know everything, but how do I get to a point where I actually understand why am I not allowed to approach that tree?
Now, when my creator speaks to me, he knows my capacity of knowledge.
Yes.
So you don't know what I'm going to teach you means it is within your capacity. But you may not use it because you may not think that it's possible. You are blocked there. And he said, no, you can do it. Come on, go ahead. I'll give you guidance. When we go to somewhere and you don't know which room you are going to, although it is within your capacity to go that room, but you don't know what that room is. So somebody tells you, turn right, it's on the right, second right, for example. You learn it, go and find it. Now, within our capacity, we have to understand that my creator, if he is a wise creator, which seems to be by looking at the world he performed in front of my eyes, he's really absolutely wise. So he must speak to me within my capacity. So I cannot say that Allahu Alam. Yeah, I don't understand this, but he knows better. But is he a stupid guy who tells me that I don't understand something? It makes, it presents God as a not a wise one. When you say Allahu Alam, it is a conclusion. I think that is very common news. Yes, Allahu Alam, but when you are studying the revelation, it must be within your capacity and you have to make the effort to understand it. If you don't understand it, ultimately, it means there's something wrong in your approach. That's what is the case among the Muslim scholarship. Something is wrong in their approach, so that they cannot get the result, and the solution is Allahu Alam. It means God is stupid. But as far as their responsibility is concerned, you understand that? But you studied, you learn the word, and the creator of the word is absolute, infinitely knowledgeable, and they say God knows everything, that's your conclusion. But as far as the attempt to understand the revelation is concerned, we cannot say that God knows, I don't know. But God tells me, but I don't understand. But they say, look, I have not studied enough. But we can say that. But I have not studied enough. Don't refer it to God and say, I solved the problem. It's not solving the problem, it's just running away from the responsibility.
No, I was going to try and answer your question from earlier.
Yes.
The prohibition is a practical opportunity or an opportunity to practice your belief in the real world by acknowledging that everything is created by God.
They have an owner.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I am not the owner
I'm
of
not
paradise.
the owner, the creator, and it's not also owned by random accident and so on. And so the owner gives me a practical opportunity to exercise my belief by staying away from something, even if there is no like earthly reason for me to stay away from it.
Which reason? I couldn't catch the word.
Worldly reason or earthly, yeah. So, yeah, it's just. I mean, I remember we talked about this briefly before, and it was made it very simple for me. He created wine. I am practicing my belief by saying he created wine, and he's telling me not to drink it. The story's over. Like it's not that hard to.
He's the owner, huh?
Yeah.
When you don't drink wine, not because it is harmful for you. I don't think it is harmful for you if you get a little.
No, it's not.
No.
So a little bit.
Why don't you get a little bit? If the reason was it is harmful for you, you could have been allowed to have a little.
Right.
But it doesn't work. It fails. This reasoning, because it's harmful for you, the way of reasoning in this way fails. So we have to understand alongside with what you said. Now, let me explain the justice here, as Cosmos concerned. For example, this is the machine, and I am using the machine only 5% of its potentiality. Am I doing justice to the machine? No. But when I use 5% of it, it is right to use it, 5% of it. That's the difference between right and justice. So we have to do justice to our human capacity. Our human capacity always is related to the reality of my existence and interpret it in a way that all my feelings and plus intellect must be satisfied. That is justice. According to my need, within my own capacity, I must be fully satisfied with my existence. It is only possible when I refer my existence or when I refer all my feelings to an absolute source and see that they are nothing but the reflections of the absolute source, reminding me the source of all these feelings. So everything is then provided to me or presented to me in the verbal explanation is, as Talu said, opportunity to remember, to revise my reality, because I keep forgetting. Right, for example, Adam is in paradise. He goes and, if you take it verbally, it doesn't make sense because in paradise you don't have to eat to sustain yourself, but to entertain yourself. Just enjoy. Okay? So he goes to a tree for enjoyment because he's created to be happy or created to be happy. So as a creature, by the absolute being, by the absolute, the generous one, so whatever he creates must enjoy his generosity. Yeah? So he was doing that. And we are doing it here as well. But we have to know how to be in paradise while we are here. That's what the Sharia provides us the way, how can we be in paradise absolutely happy while we are maybe suffering from some problems. That were the problems. Okay. Anytime he goes and approaches a tree, what does he say? What does he remember? Yeah, let's say he believes. Now the practice. Now, what does he say when he approaches the tree and wants to get something in order to entertain?
Lawfully accepts it.
Sorry?
Lawfully accepts it, like that this has been created for me.
No. Is it the tree which is prohibited by the owner of this paradise? Or let's say in our terms, is it the tree which is prohibited by the owner of this forest? No. Okay. No. It means an opportunity. That is the way it remembers, the human beings remembers that, this forest has an owner. He provided it everything. But let's say out of trillions, quadrillions of trees, come on, don't be jealous of one tree. Why do you prohibit me from benefiting from one tree? Why do you do that? He said, don't prohibit. Okay, let's no prohibition. And what you do? You approach any tree without remembering the owner. Just take care of your entertainment. Why? There is no motives which asks you to remember. There is an owner. So whatever the tree it is, it's the tree of khuld, it's eternity. So the Satan doesn't want human beings to become. There is no tree of eternity in paradise because paradise itself is eternal. It's a contradiction, explanation, reasoning. You know, if someone is, has learned something from tradition, the tradition collapses here. In this class, traditional understanding collapses. So it is a contradiction because the paradise is, by definition, eternal. Everything is eternal, not only tree of eternity. Doesn't make sense. Welcome. In other words, so We have to understand the word first from belief perspective. That is the Quranic teaching. The Quran doesn't teach from wisdom perspective. Quran teaches from belief perspective, which is called in Arabic, illah, not hikmah. Hikmah is how we interpret it according to our life conditions. Maybe right, maybe wrong. But illah is essential. Right? Okay. If there was no prohibition of one tree, I will be eating everything like animal without remembering anything. It is just my appetite. I am entertaining myself here, eating anything. Yeah. But one prohibition enables me to take care of every one of my actions. Is it prohibited? By the owner. Because the owner of a property, for example, the cafe is owned by Habibi. He can do anything he wants with it. He's the owner. He says, Ali, you can have half of it, or you can have all of it, whatever. Or he may not. He's the owner. He has every right to dispose, or not to dispose, or consume the cafe. He's the owner. He's responsible for it. He's the owner. So I cannot transgress his right saying that, look, I'm a human being as well. I love coffee. Let me have some of it. No, this is your property. Yeah? You can dispose your property as you can administer your property as you. Okay. You are his property. Animals are his property. Trees are his property. He can dispose any way he wants, but he is telling me in Revelation, don't approach this tree. He is doing justice to my reality. Remember, got this. Doing justice to my reality. Why? As I am, if I am not reminded, I can just live like an animal, eat everything, whatever comes to my table. And without thinking the owner, because I'm not looking for the permission of the owner. And so that I'm not reminded. It means I don't remember. And I don't connect myself to the Creator. So if I don't connect myself to the Creator every moment, I am alone here with no satisfaction with my existence, because my existence can only be meaningful and satisfactory for me when I refer to it to an absolute being. That's the purpose of the Sharia, to remind you who you are, to remind you who your owner is, and provide the opportunities for you. Pray, don't eat this, don't drink this, do that. For example, as the Quran argues itself and teaches us that you can argue in this way, but it doesn't make sense for the purpose of your existence. In the Quran, it's presented in this way. The Quran, the Sharia of the prophets, asks people to feed the needy. And some clever people, not very wise though, they say, look, if they are to be taken care, if they were to be taken care of by someone, first of all, God should take care of them. That's what they say, huh? In the Quranic argument. But the Quran said this is false. And stop silent about the answer, because you have to say, why is it? You have to question, why is it false? Yeah, God created the poor guy, God created me as well, and he must provide what he needs, because it is if he is the absolute God, he must do justice to his existence and give whatever the existence of the body or otherwise needs of this man needed, provide by the Creator. Right? Why not? He refers to me and said that, look, I created this man, and this man is a perfect creation, but for any reason, I didn't give food to him, or I couldn't, or something. Please take care of it for me. As if asking for human beings to take care of the poor guys. Looks like it. What do you say? Look at the universe. He's so generous. He is creating countless number of living beings. He's providing everything for every animals. Yep. Don't say that we are taking care of the dogs. No, no, no. Don't leave them alone. They will take care of themselves. But only the human beings. Some human beings are left needy for any reason. Why? Do you think he's not able to do that? Think about it. Who created the whole universe, man, quadrillions, trillions of, maybe time will come and they will talk about quadrillions of different galaxies exist in the world. No end. And they couldn't give a handful of food to this poor guy, which is impossible. And we have to say, what is the purpose? There must be a purpose. As far as I am concerned, I am asked to give to charity. Yeah? Zakat. Or sadaqah, which is just giving freely, charity, freely. Zakat compulsory. What is the point? Where is justice there in Sharia? Now, why? Can you imagine, as a human being as you are, if you take care of the needy man, if he's happy, how do you feel? And when you use your property, you cannot say that, hey, it is my property. Yeah, I can use it as I want. So you have to drink 40 cups of coffee, Habibi, and give one of them to poor guy here next to you. You have to. Why? Why? Why you have to? When you say, this is given to me, this is not mine, this is not mine, this is not mine. Now, when you have all this, you say, this is not mine. The owner of the coffee asked me to give one to the next one who doesn't have it. And what you do, you exercise, again, opportunity is given to you in order to understand that this this coffee is provided for you by your creator and the creator of the coffee. You own nothing. You cannot create anything. It's all given. It is another way of doing justice to yourself in order to remember that your owner is the absolute being. Your owner is the absolute being.
Okay, so once a person has, I guess, established that they're doing something or they're providing justice to their reality by acknowledging, again, the creator of themselves and whatever has been kind of ordained for them to restrain from. Because, again, like, there are many things in the Quran that you can take very literally, and then there are things that are open to interpretation. If I have two questions here, so if the goal is to just practice this acknowledgement or this realization that you have a creator and that creator can refrain from, And every opportunity, whether you're encountering that tree which you've been told to stay away from, or the other trees that you've been told that you're okay to visit, is an opportunity for you to like reestablish this conclusion, right? Then does it even matter? Like, what about even if I do go to the tree that has been that I've been told don't go to, and I can still say, okay, the creator of this tree has told me not to do it, but I'm going to do it anyways.
It means you are not acknowledging it.
To me, no,
If they are not acknowledging the ownership of the tree,
so there's
it means although he owns it, but I'm going to dispose it as I want. What does it mean? It is not justice. He owns it.
okay.
It is his right to define or to give restrictions or allowances or ordains
Right.
to do that, not to do that. For example, if you rent a house, can you do to the house or apartment as you want? Or the owner says, okay, I'm going to change this room. Can you say that I'm going to destroy this room and burn this house as a renter? So we are not the owners. We are just consumers of what is given to us.
So what happens in the second? So that answers the first question, which is like you have to physically exercise your belief or your conclusion.
That's good for you.
That is good for me, and it confirms your belief as well.
Yeah, so do justice to yourself.
Yes.
The means, the different means.
So the second part to this question is, what about the areas, and this is getting too specific, but what about the areas where it's not that literal? Like, again, my memory's not that good, but let's say in the Quran, pork is defined, that don't eat it, but there might be other things as well. There are verses that might be like, oh, this is lawful or this is not lawful. Whether it's eating or, I don't know, practicing your existence in other forms. Then you start getting into the fiqh matters, where people say, oh, this is what was being said, or this is what is being interpreted. In that case, that leaves the door open to saying whatever the Arabic statement that you were saying, like only God knows better, because
Wallahu a'lam.
yeah, so because you can't at that point you're not questioning the physical, I guess, benefits or the harmful effects of the thing itself, but rather you're establishing this belief at a theoretical level, and you're saying that okay, maybe there is no good for me, it doesn't matter, or maybe there is good for me in eating this, but because it's interpreted this way, I should refrain from it because I'm practicing this acknowledgement.
I think we are ready to read the fourth point.
Okay.
In the fourth point, it will be discussed. Come on, since you have the question and concerns, actually.
Can I add just maybe the questions are gonna join together? For example, that example of prohibition of pork. I understand the idea of okay, there's one owner, and as our brother said, that there's always a reminder to who owns everything. But the choice of one thing, just as a reminder, is another question. Why this one is prohibited and not another one? For example, why pork is prohibited and not cow?
Doesn't matter.
It matters in a way
Why?
because, like, if I'm have the question, like it means like, okay, there's a beginning, a reflective like process of asking why. So I remember the creator, but everything is made in such a perfect way. Can I just say that the choice of that animal being prohibited is just random? There's nothing that's random
No.
in the universe.
They cannot be random.
So there must be another explanation than just the reminder of who owns.
Yeah, just a
And I cannot
reminder
say,
tone.
and I cannot just. My reasoning cannot just accept Allahu A'lam. He prohibited this.
Yeah,
For
But
as a reminder, as a process to remind me all the time that this world is not mine. But I have like a hard time to say just, oh, it's horrible. God only knows why. And
Not God only knows the solution. We are looking for the purpose of Sharia. The purpose of Sharia is to make justice to myself, providing the opportunities. But rather than, let's say, item A is prohibited or ordained, going to item B, this is not the relevant subject, because you may know, you may not know, doesn't matter. You have to practice what is given to you in order to make justice to yourself. So why do you want to learn why the bacon is prohibited rather than cow? Some people say cow is more dangerous.
because I'm made with that capacity of questioning everything. And
yeah, you can question, but the purpose of the prohibition is not for the sake of the bacon. The purpose of the creation, the main purpose of the creation is to provide an opportunity for you to make justice to your human capacity. But you may independently question why this particular item, but it's nothing to do with your purpose of existence. It's nothing to do with the purpose of Sharia. The purpose of Sharia must have wisdom in it, but we don't act because of the wisdom. We don't learn the things from the Sharia in order to see the wisdom in it, but we learn the Sharia in order to have the opportunity to practice, in order to fulfill my human capacity while I'm living in this world. Asking for wisdom is another subject, but it's an additional subject, something like luxurious. You wonder, what is the wisdom of prohibiting? But it is luxurious. It is not really essential. The essential side is related to belief. But if someone misses the essential side, the belief side, there were many people, there is a very widely practiced, and still it is widely practiced, understanding of the school of understanding. The people say they don't know, but they are following this school of understanding. Most of the believers, they do the things, they explain the things for the sake of their wisdom, not Allah. It is obvious if you speak to any ordinary man who speaks about religion, maybe propagates, teaches religion, why do we pray? They said, God forbid, if God ordered this, that's what we have to do, and it is good for us. Why? It organizes our life. Wisdom. Wisdom. Yeah. Why do you fast? Oh, fast is very good for your health, etc., etc. Look, wisdom. Wisdom. So the purpose of Sharia is not wisdom. Wisdom is in it, but not the purpose. We shouldn't confuse that. First of all, we have to understand the purpose, and then we may wonder, but it depends on your interpretation. Because it is relevant to your capacity of understanding why bacon is particularly, or has particularly been chosen among other animal products. But
what is your interpretation?
Sorry?
What is your personal interpretation?
I don't care. Why? It's not my business. My business is to act according to the purpose of the Sharia.
Isn't it
Yeah.
a legitimate question?
but it replaces historically.
Without replacing
No.
like the
We
purpose
have,
boundary.
we have to, okay, we have to notice that in Islamic theology, it replaced the purpose of Sharia, the wisdom of Sharia, and what happened? Everything is
Upside down.
has turned upside down, and they were stuck because they said, okay, this is the reason today why bacon is prohibited. Tomorrow, you never know what we human beings are going to be disclosed and learn. Oh, it was wrong. But what is permanent there? The purpose of Sharia. So be stuck to purpose of Sharia. The others is not relevant. You may not understand. Even you think that you understood, it is not permanent solution. It is a temporary solution according to the conditions of your life conditions. What you know, for example, 20 years, no, 2 centuries, not 2 centuries, less, 10 centuries ago, people didn't know what you know now. So their wisdom will be restricted to what? Their life conditions. Now you have another conditions, it changes. It is not permanent. The permanent is purpose of Sharia. That's why we have to concentrate on the purpose of Sharia rather than wisdom in it. So if you, but it is, I don't want to go into scholarly discussions that God prohibits something because its nature is bad, or the other school said God prohibits something not because its nature is bad, but because he prohibited, it is bad for you. There are 2 mainstream scholarship went on. There are 2 main the madhahib, belief madhab existed around this. So those people who said God prohibits something because it is bad for you, that's why God prohibits. The other scholars say, no, you think that God is bound to his own order? Yeah. So I made pig bad, that's why, now what shall I do? I have to prohibit it. And then I asked the question, although classical scholars didn't ask this question. I asked this question. If it is bad that you need it to prohibit it, first of all, why did you create it? And there is no answer. From this perspective, there's no answer. Since it is bad, why did you create it then? Huh? If the was bad. So, bacon is bad for human beings to eat. The pig is okay. It's an animal. It's created to make, to glorify God. But bacon for human beings to eat is all right. If it is bad, why did you create it from the beginning? So it comes back to the purpose again. It is created in this way so that God will prohibit it and give the opportunity to human beings to fulfill their purpose of life in this world. It comes back to the purpose of the Sharia again. So this is not the right understanding, but unfortunately, this approach is so prevalent that our minds are stuck there. We always look at the wisdom in the creation. For example, I can tell you the wisdom today. I can see that, the life is so crowded with lots of possibilities. For me, do this, do this, do this, do this. How many things that I have to run, the chores in my life that I have to do. And while I have all this, the time comes, I hear the azan, I may or may not, but the time comes and says, okay, go and pray now. Isn't it a good opportunity for you, to remember that your Lord and perform your worship to Him, to thank Him. This opportunity, as far as what? As far as my life conditions are concerned. But tomorrow, everything will be done by technology. The people won't be busy, really. They will have 3 days, 4 days, holidays a week. Now some of the European countries are having 3 days a week holiday. They don't work, but they work on 4 days. Now it is going through. You know, Friday becomes a half day. You notice that in the companies? Then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they let you go. You go to your ambitious now to get the opportunity of happy hour so that you can drink. So, okay? Look, it is going on this way. It means people will have more free time. They will say, okay, I'm always free. I'm not busy. So I can remember God anytime. I don't need a special time for it. Do you see what I mean? Any interpretation according to the wisdom is time and space bound, cannot be the permanent interpretation. So we have to learn how to read the Quran in order to benefit from it, the speech of God, guidance of God, to get permanent, eternal guidance from it, not dependent on human reasoning. In order to understand the wisdom of the Creator, as a human being, what you do, you speculate on the absolute one. But what we have to do now, you have to look at the purpose of the Sharia, implication of the Sharia, for the sake of the purpose to do justice to your being. We studied that. It is permanent. So don't bother. Why do I think that why God prohibits alcohol? No, because it is harmful for me. As I told you, the example, if I drink a little bit, it is not maybe helpful. What is the answer? No, our wisdom doesn't work. Because Sharia is not for the sake of wisdom. Sharia is for the sake of ilm. Ilm makes justice to you. It means, ilm means really owner of the creation, gives you guidance in order to, provides you the opportunity in order to do justice to your being. Now, this is the owner. Owner says, okay, you use this room, don't use this room, all right, because it's not my property. But in order to not to use that room, I come to this room. This is the owner allowed me to use. Yeah? By I am choosing that, I am acknowledging the owner. That is the purpose of my life. To connect to the absolute owner. And to make my existence meaningful in terms of eternity, in terms of absolute being. That makes sense. But the other is personal, time-bound, life conditions bound. So it changes, and you cannot see that I am reading the eternal guidance from an absolute being who knows everything with no time bound. Contradicts. The approach is wrong. The approach is wrong. We have to understand this. And unfortunately, it is very much widespread among the believers. And we ourselves say, oh, what is the wisdom? What is the wisdom? Especially the non-Muslims ask, you pray 5 times a day. Why? You fast for a month. Oh, why? If you say that, fasting is good for you. No, I have a consultant, nutritionist. He tells me exactly what amount of food I should eat, and I feel very fit. I don't need fasting. I don't need guidance. There is no answer. Now, because the approach is wrong, so that is why Sharia is the one, especially physical application of Sharia. Sharia includes belief as well. There's something else. The Quran includes belief, not includes belief, really, based on belief, really fundamental. But if we just look at the practical side of it only, what we find that we are not really doing the practice on the base of belief system. For example, can you apply practical side of Sharia to a non-believer? You have a community, all right? This community, let's say, this is our community now, here in this room. And the administration of this community belongs to us. You appointed somebody to be responsible for this, taking care of, in order to take care of the needs of this society, this small society, make it somehow palpable, understandable example. And there is a person who wants to come in the room. As a man who's applying the practical side of Sharia, can you prevent this man to come into the room according to Sharia? No, because in Islam, there is no boundary for any case. It is open. If you pray a Friday prayer, which is not open to the public, this Friday prayer is invalid. Must be open to everyone. You cannot say, you are a Jew, you cannot come in. You are not wearing clothes properly, you cannot come in. Practical, forget about ignorant people, what they do. No. He is wearing in this way, he can come. You cannot say that. He comes here. And we say, okay, it's time for us to pray with Jama'ah. Come on, everyone. The other person says, I'm not a Muslim. Yeah, I'm a Jew. Or the Jews pray almost like us. But I'm a Christian. We don't do that. We do it on Sundays. For example, can you force him? Huh? You see, practical side of Sharia can only be applied according to one's belief. So you can make sense of the practical side of Sharia in terms of your belief. Got it? As far as you are sure about your belief, it will give the value to your practical side of Sharia. If someone is not aware of it, I'm a Muslim, we have to pray. Okay, that's that much practical. That much benefits. You know what? I'm following my tradition. If you go to a Chinese family, and that what they will say, we do this. Why? Because it's family tradition. They give the food on certain days. There is a Buddha statue there, and any kind of statue. Did you know that? It's so ridiculous. So they offer the coffee. They made the coffee to devote the coffee to the statue here, and okay, we devoted it, sanctified it. Now we can drink it. And if he's not going to drink it, why did you give it? Which is the statue you bought from the shop. But that is tradition. What they do, that's our tradition. Now, another person may say, oh, we fast during Ramadan, that's our tradition. Nature-wise, is the same. So what we have to do, we have to be conscious of our belief system according to our practical side of Sharia will have meaning and gain value. Otherwise, I don't say no one has any reason at all while they are praying. No, they may have. I don't care. But I should know that the value of my practical Sharia depends on my belief capacity. You cannot isolate it. That's why the practical Sharia must be referred to first belief system. If someone doesn't believe, you cannot. This person cannot practice practical side of Sharia, and it doesn't have to according to Sharia. Why? It would be meaningless. To pray, to fast would be meaningless. But by fasting, let's say somebody says, "Well, it's a good thing to do. You know, I will fast as well." Without belief, he may get health, but it is no good. That's what we have to understand with one word. Sharia deals fundamentally with belief. The practical side of Sharia, you know, these rituals gain value only according to your belief. That's why wisdom is not counted. We have to understand it. It's a long discussion in Islamic history. Oh man, the great scholars fought about it. Volumes of books are written. I didn't read those books, but what the main streams of thought among the Muslim scholarship divided into two. One of them has concentrated on wisdom, the other one has concentrated on illah, and wisdom side failed, but unfortunately, in the 20th, rationality prevailed over the world, and into the 21st century, this approach has been revived. Be careful. This approach of basing the argument on wisdom has been revised, and we are the children of this tradition. We have to be very careful. That's why I said we have to understand the Sharia. What is justice in Sharia? Because it is not commonly studied, it is not commonly discussed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. That was an interesting discussion for me. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة السر سورة
Should I stop it?
Yeah.